Hey everyone, welcome back to Glass Seats. This is Viddy.
My name is Mrinal, and in this episode, we're going to start previewing the next season. But we're going to do this a little bit differently. Rather than spend time going through every single team, when a lot of the teams this year didn't really do that much or haven't really changed expectation. I don't know if you feel it feels like it's kind of a holding year a little bit.
I don't know. I feel like teams either made a lot of moves or sat still and did nothing.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
It was one or the other.
It was one or the other. It was very, binary this year.
Yeah. Let's be real. Most of the fans of the NHL, you follow your team and maybe a couple others. You don't really care about all 32.
Yeah.
Except unless you're crazy like us.
Almost, yeah.
But regardless, what we have done is we have curated a few teams that I think, or we think, are going to be interesting going into the next season.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about why they're interesting and what questions surround those teams.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to cover the Eastern Conference in this episode. Next episode, we're going to cover the Western Conference, 3 teams in each conference. Let's start in New Jersey.
Yeah.
The New Jersey Devils last season missed the playoffs.
Remember when they were projected to win the cup?
Yeah, because 2 years ago, they made the playoffs, looked good, and then lost to New York.
I think they beat New York in the first round, and then they lost to maybe Carolina, I think it was.
Yeah, because Carolina made the East Conference final with Florida.
Yeah, but they still took down New York with the Patrick Kane and Tarasenko, all those.
The loaded New York.
Yeah, and took them down in 7, so.
And then they promptly could not repeat that performance.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to say, though. Last season was a season from hell, no pun intended for them, right? Like it felt like just bad luck on every turn, and now they also have a different coach now. And
let's talk about that. 2 major changes. One, head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs comes in to now coach the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah.
Sheldon Keefe is the new coach of the Devils.
Lindy Ruff heads to Buffalo.
And the other thing is Jacob Markstrom, the goaltender, comes into net for New Jersey.
And that was a big issue, I think, a lot for Jersey. Just a lot of last season where they just could not figure out a goalie solution. And I think Vitek Vanacek he got traded to San Jose, and he didn't even want to speak about his experience in Jersey. He's like, I'm here in San Jose now. I don't want to talk about it. So we don't exactly know what happened. Maybe it was just general frustrations, but
it just seemed like bad vibes all around.
It just was not a good time at all. So.
Add on top of that, Timo Meier having a stinker of a season.
Yeah. I mean, he did okay, like near the end, but it was too little too late for sure.
Too late.
Yeah. And then the whole Hockey Canada 5. There was like 2 players from Jersey that dealt with that. So I'm sure that just fucked up the chemistry in the locker room too.
Yeah. So I think this season is a fresh start.
Yeah.
New coach, new goalie. And all your young players have taken another step and they've gotten better. They're still in the upswing of their careers, right? Like Timo Meier's one, but there's also Nico Hischier, Jack Hughes.
There was flashes of brilliance last season. It just wasn't enough. Like
he's a first overall pick.
Yeah. They were good. It just could not gel together enough to get them into the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, who knows what happens. But they were. I remember them basically not dismantling, but like kind of low key kicking Philly's ass during the stadium series game, and like whether you want to call that like home crowd advantage or whatever, but they look good. They look like a playoff team.
They have potential.
They have potential. There were flashes of brilliance again, but just couldn't get it done.
So let me put you in the hot seat here.
Yeah.
What is the end goal for the New Jersey Devils? What would be considered a success for this season?
It's hard to say just because there's so many new things happening right now. Playoffs is for sure playoffs. Like,
so if you miss the playoffs, it's a fail.
Yeah, for sure. Right. But I don't know where the threshold is in terms of that. Cause obviously we just talked about how they beat the Rangers in 7 2 years ago. But should they make the East finals? Should they at least make the second round? Is it cup or bust? Cup or bust seems a little harsh, no?
Cup or bust for New Jersey means you expect New Jersey to beat New York, to beat Florida, to beat Boston, and to beat Toronto.
Yeah.
Those are the heavy hitters in that conference, right?
Yeah. And even if the Islanders somehow like just pull off their upset, just meat and potatoes hockey, right? Like you never know. So yeah, I'm going to say, they should make the playoffs. I think if they made the East finals, that would be like a very good season. I don't see this team winning a cup, if I'm being frank.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you make the Eastern Conference final, I think you take that as a success. You solidify your holes in your roster a little bit more next year. And I expect from next year, maybe 2 years from now, that this is a contender.
Yeah, and I feel like the league is also just fun when Jersey's like one of those strong teams. We remember back in like the 2000s when it was them and Anaheim going at it like quite a lot.
Days.
Yeah, the Brodeur days. Yeah, those were a good time. And I feel like the league benefited from that. But yeah, we'll see.
All right. Let's go across the river now and talk about the New York Rangers. This is the President's Trophy winning team. Did not go that far in the playoffs. Well,
I mean, they went to the third round. They just got dismantled by that Florida team.
You know, you're right. Now that I feel like I remember them getting out early, but it's just that they got out embarrassingly quick.
Yeah, it's just their superstar didn't show up in that series.
Yeah.
And I think that killed them. But is that a testament to Florida's defense, or did the offense not actually show up? So
let me ask you this: is this the last season that New York has to win the cup? Just because they do have some older players, Jacob Trouba doesn't seem like he's going to be back next season. Igor Shesterkin
next season, not this coming season. Okay, got it.
But his contract is up this season.
Yeah, they're not re-signing him,
and they don't want to. Seems like they don't want to re-sign him.
Yeah.
Igor Shesterkin needs a new contract next season. All your kids are probably going to be up, like Lafreniere, Capocacco, and Mika Zibanejad or Temi Panarin are honestly probably not going to get better. They're at their peaks right now, or starting to come down from their peaks.
Yeah.
Right.
There was an interesting quote from Trouba where he said this might be the last crack at it, or something like that, which seems daunting that your own captain would say that about his team. But I think there's some merit to it, and I think a lot of it, one, they got to figure out the Shesterkin signing. Look at what has happened in Boston and how that's dragged out past training camp.
That's Jeremy Swayman, goaltender, who is not signed for Boston.
Yeah. It's just they need to get this done. Like, they can't have this hang over them the entire season. It seems like the Shesterkin camp is willing, or is being cooperative with the Rangers.
The fact that we're already hearing news about it and he's not, he still has this season to play out.
It's very promising. Yeah.
Yeah. That means they're talking about it. It's on their radar.
Yeah. But again, going back to the discussion we had about Draisaitl getting $14 million, you still got to win a cup. You can't just throw all this money at this player, no matter how talented, right? And goalies have off seasons too, right?
Is Shesterkin the best goalie in the league?
I don't know. Is Vasi still there? He's still pretty damn good. So he might not be as good as Bob when Bob is lights out, but
yeah. Is he top 3?
Is Shesterkin?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I would say so.
So that's your 3.
Yeah.
Bob, Vasi, and Shesterkin.
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like I'm discrediting Swayman, but I'm not. He needs to get a contract first, right? So anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. So they got to get Shesterkin signed, but yeah, the big guys got to step up. There's no beating around the bush here. They got to step up in those big crucial moments, because you're screwed otherwise. You're screwed. There's just so much money that has to be moved around this offseason, or this next offseason. So many guys that need to get signed, and there might be an implosion. There is an implosion on the line.
And it doesn't feel like it's end of the road for the whole team.
No.
Because you do have a lot of these kids.
Yeah.
But you never know. When you have that much change, you don't know what team you're going to get on the outside of it.
Look at what happened to San Jose.
I was about to say.
They just lost their captain and replaced with Carlson, and that was the beginning of the end.
And everyone's like, oh, they're going to contend again. Nope.
No.
Made the Eastern Conference Final, straight to lottery.
Yeah.
There was no fade out. It was a crash.
It was just off the cliff. Yeah. So you never know. Obviously, the Rangers were somewhat rebuilding. They just expedited that. They just got lucky in the draft a couple times
they got
too.
Lafreniere, Capocacco, Panarin wanted to sign there, and then they got Fox to sign there.
Yeah.
So
I will say Lafreniere looks a lot better than when he first started. Looks a lot more confident.
That's a bona fide top 6 forward now.
Yeah, for sure. And people were quick to label him bust. Kakko, I'm not too sure if I'm being.
Kakko's like a middle 6.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but I think he's on a 2-year right now, or a bridge deal right now. So it's. Now's the time to prove it. New York should feel the same urgency that Toronto does, because otherwise you have a daunting reality headed your way.
A lot of heat to win in New York, and one of their biggest obstacles to win, the Cup champs Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
Can they repeat, yes or no?
I do think that Florida has the ability to repeat. I think, again, we've heard about the whole buy-in culture so much from, media, fans, coaches, whatever. And it seems like, minus the departure of Montour, a lot of the core is here to stay. And obviously, there's bottom six forwards that you're gonna have to figure out. Some of them might have dipped. You'll figure that out, right? Once you'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Brandon Montour is Cale Makar. He's not. No. He's not. But you'll find a solution for it, and Florida having the advantageous tax laws, I'm sure they'll get something figured out.
The other name they lost on defense was Ekman Larson. Yeah, but again, replaceable.
Let's be real, yeah.
And let's be real, if you are a team that is going to the third round and beyond in the playoffs, every year you are swapping out your bottom six.
Yeah, you just have to.
And your bottom six in October is very different than your bottom six in April.
Yeah.
So, because that's what these teams do at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
If you're good, you're just shoring up your bottom six.
Right.
So the bottom six that goes into the playoffs for the Panthers is going to be very different than what we see today. Mm-hmm. The bottom six's job today is just to help them get into a playoff spot.
Correct.
Which I think they can do. And you're right, the stars are still the stars. Mm-hmm. And it's not like they're super old or anything.
No.
So I think this is going to be a repeat.
Oh, okay. That's the question I was literally waiting to ask. I was like, do you think this is a repeat, or do you think they make it to the finals and then kind of fall short like Tampa did against Colorado?
I think this is a repeat, because if I'm looking at their competition in the West, I think all their competitors got worse.
Nashville, though?
But Nashville wasn't one of their competitors, right?
It's fair. Yeah.
Like, okay, if Nashville makes the final, and
then
spoiler alert, I think Nashville is going to be a bit of a juggernaut this season.
Okay.
Ooh. Big word. But I don't see any team that can beat the Panthers out west.
Okay.
And so I think if the Panthers make the Cup final,
it's kind of a wrap.
I think they can win it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have that still, that core identity still. The culture's still there. Most of the guys are still there. It's hard for me to bet against them. I think it's just a wait and see situation.
Yeah.
Obviously if they stay healthy and everything, then sure, I could believe you, but I don't want to say anything just yet. I feel like it's a little too soon. So, but yeah.
This is late September. It's the season of wild predictions.
Okay, fair enough, yeah.
So, do let us know your crazy takes in the comments below. If you like this video, drop a like on it. Hit subscribe if you want more episodes. We have multiple episodes out every week here on Glass Seats. And we're going to cover the Western Conference in our next one. We'll see you there.
Bye.
Bye.